right, so how should you try Wagyu beef for the first time? So first thing not to do is to go out there and buy a full A5 Japanese steak, okay? It's gonna cost you $100 to $200. It's extremely rich, it's extremely expensive, and your expectations are just gonna be so sky high, and you're gonna get a few ounces in, and you're gonna be like, I'm full, I don't really understand it. So instead of going out and spending $100 or $200 on a full-on big A5 Wagyu steak, I suggest you go out and you buy a couple of ounces of A5. So just get a little chunk about that big, 2 to 3 ounces. It should only cost you maybe $20 to $35. So we're going to start small with that, and we're going to get this whole experience without kind of feeling that regret of spending $100 to $200. So that's step one. All right, so you found your cool butcher that does Wagyu beef, and you bought that little A5, little ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounces of A5, okay? Next thing I want you to do is to buy your Gateway Wagyu steak. So that, to me, is an American F1 cross Wagyu steak. So an F1 cross is 50% Wagyu, 50% generally Angus, okay? So it's still gonna eat like a steak. And that's what I really want for you to understand. I want you to get a Wagyu steak that eats like a steak, because that is what you love, that is what you want, and I'm going to blow your mind with a couple of cuts here. So don't go for the really expensive New York strip or a big ribeye just quite yet. For your first time, I want you to try some really non-Hollywood cuts, like the ranch steak, maybe a teres major, a top sirloin, a zabuton, oh my god, it's my favorite, a flat iron, or even a bavette. And so these cuts are generally going to cost you maybe $20, $35 a pound, depending on where you're at, and they're going to feed 1 to 2 people. So for a really great steak, that's a really, really good price. So all of these cuts right there, you don't go for the ribeye and the New York, because those are the Hollywood cuts. Those are going to cost a lot more. So go to this cool butcher who does Wagyu beef, find those cuts, those off cuts, right? The ranch is something so amazing, because you almost generally don't see it with conventional beef, but then you see it with Wagyu, and it's just beautifully marbled, amazing piece of meat. We used to sell them in our butcher shop for like $10 or $11 for a nice steak. So that's your gateway steak. So go with an American F1 cross, ranch, teres major, zabuton, top sirloin, something like that, okay? And now we're going to get into how to cook and prepare it. So I've got my A5, and I've got my nice American F1 cross steak. Okay, so we're cooking our A5. We have our A5 and we have our gateway, our F1 cross, right? Awesome, love it. So we're gonna take that A5 steak, and we're gonna get a cast iron pan, and we're gonna turn it up to about medium or medium high, okay? So I have my A5, my little 2 ounces of A5 right there. I'm gonna put a little salt on it, and then once that pan is up to temp, I'm going to press it down into the cast iron pan, and I'm just going to look to get a really nice sear. So all I want is pan and meat. I don't want any oil in there, any butter, nothing, because the Wagyu fat, especially from the A5, is just going to melt. Once you're going to press it down, and you're going to go, what is all of that? And all of this fat is going to come out. So you're going to be cooking it in its own fat. Okay, so you're going to probably cook it for a couple of minutes on each side. You're going to flip it. You're going to get a nice little crust, and you're going to want to cook it to that medium rare, okay? We like it to that 120 to 130, all right? It's okay to eat it a little bit rare, but we do like to make sure that that fat is rendered inside, because there's a lot of fat in there. Okay, so I've got that 2 ounces, and we're pressed it down. It's searing, it's cooking. When it's done, I take it off and I put it on my cutting board, and then I let it rest, okay? We always let our meat rest, but you're gonna leave that pan on with that fat in there still sizzling, because we still gotta cook our Gateway F1 cross steak. All right, so the A5 is resting on our little cutting board over there. Now we have our F1 cross. Let's just say we've got a really nice ranch steak, okay? So I'm gonna season that with a little salt and pepper, and I'm gonna go over to the steak that I just cooked my A5 in, and I'm gonna press that into the A5 pan with all that A5 fat. So I'm cooking, I don't need any other oil. I'm cooking it in the A5 Wagyu fat right now. So I pressed it down. I'm trying to get a sear on all sides, probably 3 minutes on each side, kind of depending on the thickness of the steak, right? But generally, the ones that I told you to get aren't going to be the super, super thick ones. So a couple minutes on each side. Let's sear it up. What we're looking for is just a nice, crispy sear on each side, and we're looking for that to be about 128 degrees internal temp, okay? If it's a little bit of a thicker steak and you have a nice sear, you want to take that pan and you're going to put it in the oven and just finish it to try to get it to that 128 internal temp, all right? So once we hit that, we're going to pull it out of our pan, put it next to our A5 that's resting on our cutting board, and now we're probably going to start slicing that A5. Let me teach you how to do that. Now is the fun part. So the A5 is rested, okay? So we're gonna take that A5, the little 2 ounces, and we're gonna slice just really nice thin little cuts here, just really nice little thin cuts, and then fan it out, and then finish it with a little bit of nice salt, okay? That nice finishing salt. So our Gateway F1 cross steak, an American Wagyu steak, is resting right now, and we're gonna try this A5, okay? And then what I want out of this is for you to understand that the A5 is going to be super rich and have a different mouthfeel, and it's going to be amazing. But all you really need is just a little bit, okay? So while our F1 Cross American steak is resting, we're gonna fan that out, and we're gonna try a couple little pieces of A5, and we're gonna share it with the couple people that are there as well. So everybody gets a couple little slices. They're gonna eat it, and put it in their mouth and eat it, and they're gonna feel that different mouthfeel and taste that buttery, salty, beefy richness, and it's going to be a different eating experience. It's almost like it's a different cow than a conventional cow that you see in the US. It really is. It almost feels like it's a totally different product. But I want you to understand that it is different, and it's amazing, but you just need a little bit of that, right? So instead of buying that whole steak, you just need a couple of ounces that you can share with people, because it's more about the experience than it is really about eating a full A5 steak. So this is the best way to try it. So you've had a couple of pieces and your mouth's feeling that really nice, buttery, fatty mouthfeel, and you're like, wow, this is pretty amazing. That's outstanding. Now, your F1 cross steak has rested, your ranch steak has rested. So now I'm going to take that, I'm going to slice it like a normal steak, fan it out, finish it with that nice seasoning salt again, cut little pieces, eat it up just like a steak. So you've had your 2 ounces of A5, you got a beautiful ranch steak. You can really taste both of the differences between an A5 and maybe an American F1 cross. And so you're getting this full range of Wagyu instead of getting this 12 ounces of A5, which is just going to fill you up after eating a third of it, and you're going to spend all that money. So what you've just done is you probably spent, depending on the steak that you bought, $40 to $50, and you get to try some amazing A5 Wagyu beef from Japan and some amazing F1 cross Wagyu raised in the United States. So you're going to get that whole steak feel as well, which is what we want, what the U.S. consumers want. They want to eat that whole steak. And so look for some of these non-conventional cuts, like the ranch steaks and the teres majors and the zabutons. And you're going to eat that steak and you're going to think, oh my God, this is one of the best pieces of meat I've ever had. And so instead of going to the store and buying a $35 or $40, choice or prime ribeye, you can get a zabuton or a ranch steak for $20, a Wagyu. So that's how I think you should really try it for the first time, okay? So you've got a little bit of that A5, you've got a nice ranch steak, and you can really taste that buttery beefiness and really enjoy that steak. And it's cooked in your A5 Wagyu tallow as well. Like it's the best of both worlds without spending $200. And I'm saying that 40 to 50 bucks probably feeds about 2 people. So really, that is how you should do it. That's like the gateway to get started. And maybe once you've tried that, I would say the next thing to do is to maybe go for an F1 cross or a full-blood New York strip. Those are going to be just fantastic. They're going to be, a lot richer than a F1 cross ranch steak, but you're going to build up to it. It's going to be an amazing, just outstanding steak. And it's going to be a little more expensive, of course. And I would really, until you kind of get to understand how Wagyu beef tastes, how to cook it the right way, I wouldn't jump for that tomahawk, that full blood ribeye tomahawk, bone-in ribeye, because it's going to cost you $150 to $200, you know, for this huge piece of meat. And a lot of people, I've seen that too. They'll buy this huge piece of meat and they think that they're big man on campus and they try to eat the whole thing. You really can't even eat a full blood ribeye. I love meat. I love steaks. I eat steak so much. If I even try to eat a full blood ribeye that's not even tomahawk, I have to share that damn thing. Like, it's a lot. So understanding the different levels of Wagyu beef, understanding the different flavor profiles and the F1 crosses and the purebreds and the full bloods all the way up to A5, you're gonna have a better experience if you can understand what those are, understand how much to eat of Wagyu beef, of the different types of Wagyu beef. Okay, so that's my spiel. That's the first time you try Wagyu, don't spend $200. Set aside $50 and you're gonna have one of the best experiences of your life. You know, you have to cook it at home, but to me, that's the best way to prepare it anyway, because I don't know, when you go out to some restaurants, you don't even know what type of Wagyu they're using. So I'd go to a local butcher, understand where their meat comes from. If they, you know, have them explain some Wagyu beef to you, where they get it from, what's the difference between American and Japanese, so you kind of understand that they know what they're talking about. Take it home and cook it yourself and spend $50. Like, it's gonna just blow your mind, okay? Don't spend $200. Spend $50. That's how Evan, the meat dude, would suggest you try Wagyu beef for the first time.